I was on a film set and noticing half of the crew behind the scenes were women, and I thought, what would it be like if it were all women?
Decided that not only would we use it to empower women in their jobs in the film industry, but also to bring along amateurs who wanted to learn about those jobs. Maybe they don't know anything about that specific job, they're not necessarily students, but could be anyone in the community that just had an interest.
We put out a call for writers, we put out a call for crew, we put out a call for actors. Everything was up for grabs. We wanted women to come out and say, I want to be a part of this. And so the same was true with the script.
I was really excited about the thought of empowering women by the all-woman cast and crew, and so I wrote a script that I thought would empower women. I marched in the Women's March in 2017, and it was probably one of the best experiences of my life, that I felt the camaraderie of women, and so that's what inspired me to write it.
We had some added elements of community involvement, like we had a sort of town hall meeting. The city of Spokane has been ridiculously supportive. So we got to use the city council chambers, and we had a general meeting for the public just to tell them what it was, what we were doing, introduce ourselves to them. So the pre-production of this had that added element of just trying to explain to the community who we were.
The big push for pre-production was really setting up the Kickstarter for this project. We had no idea what to expect. We put it out, and 2 days later we were fully funded, so that was like amazing.
Then it just became staffing.
It was hard for us to fill some positions.
I specifically had to go and ask friends, colleagues, would they come on in this position? And the number one response I got from several people was, well, I've just never been a department head before. And I kind of said, that's the point. Then organizing the amateurs, because that was another important element, not only to have the professionals all fully crewed up and running a professional set, then each department got an amateur added to it who was job shadowing and trying to learn what it's like. So our set was much bigger than it needed to be. I did hold a class on set etiquette for all of our amateurs who'd never been on a set before, which I think was really helpful. And a nice sort of cohesive little meeting for everybody to sort of get to know each other before we went on set.
The first day on set was a little nerve-wracking to begin with. You know, the start of it was like, oh my gosh. It was at my house. There was 60 people in there. I'm like, holy cow. How is this gonna work? And you know, like quickly it just like smoothed out.
I think I was really excited about getting to just DP something, like really actually get to take on something myself and have equipment to do it, because things that I've done before have all been like documentary based or just like me and my friends, and I just had a camera, I didn't have lights. And so it was nice to finally get to have a department and have toys and really get to like put myself to the test. And because this project was, not that it was no pressure, but it wasn't like we were trying to make money off of it or I was doing it for someone else. I mean, we were doing it for each other. And so it was kind of like we all got to make mistakes.
I felt a little nervous at first because, you know, all these new people, all these new faces. But like about 10 minutes into starting working, it's like, okay, it's go time. Let's go, let's do it.
Yesterday morning when we first started shooting, I was such a duckling to Jennifer. I was such a, I'm gonna literally be behind you like the entire time because I'm scared.
I was very nervous when I first started, just because this was an entirely new experience to me. I learned a lot. I mean, she's very good at like making sure I understand everything.
It's been a lot of fun, very educational. You kind of do a bunch of problem solving, like, okay, how can I fix this weird little spot of light that is in the shot that shouldn't be?
Learned how to use a walkie, which was like awesome.
My favorite thing that I've learned, at least today, was probably the tattoo cover-ups. That was the first time I'd ever seen that done before.
I'm comfortable on set. Are you comfortable on set?
Yeah, I've grown to be very comfortable.
There's a feeling of camaraderie, and of course, because it's a project that's close to so many people's hearts, I think there's a sense of anticipation and promise that we can make a little bit of change with the project.
I love working on the set. It's really fun. I really think it's beautiful that I've worked on a couple sets before where when they say quiet on the set, no one's quiet, but here, working with all these women especially, it was just amazing. Everyone was like silent.
Quiet on set, please.
I mean, I saw a lot more people just like talking to people they hadn't talked to before.
I just sat at a random table with somebody I didn't know, and I was like, "Hi, I need a scene to sit next to you, okay?"
The whole vibe of the whole set was just kind of different. I felt like it was very relaxed, especially because it was a learning set. I feel like there's a lot of opportunity to, if you messed up on something, like no one's gonna be yelling at you. You know, it was definitely an environment where you can learn and teach.
My mentee, I really appreciated working with her. She had some really awesome projects that she was doing herself and asked for some advice on them. I really appreciated that she trusted what I had to say, because sometimes I don't trust what I have to say. In the beginning, I think she was just observing, and by the end it was more, well, how do you do this, or how would you approach this? Got to like the right questions that you were really gonna learn something from.
We had such a great time, and she, like, I mean, I don't know if I consider her amateur because she helped so much, and she's such a fast learner, and she helped me learn things. You know, it was definitely a good relationship, and we had just a little good team going on.
I guess I've never been in that much of a position where like people looked up to me before. I had to like take a step back for a second. Mainly like when I was out on the street and we were doing the march scene, and I was standing there holding the camera, like I just felt like I have power and control in this situation, and people are like looking to me like, oh, this is cool. Like it's cool to see a woman holding a camera.
It was a great opportunity. I mean, that's what it means to me. I mean, it provided exposure and experience to people who may not get it otherwise.
Biggest success of the entire project was these women realizing they could do it. You know, the whole thing I said about department heads, you know, these people who'd never been department heads before going, that wasn't scary, I could do that again.
I don't think it's as important to point out the fact that women have less jobs in the industry, but it's really important to point out that they have less opportunities. Because when you have equal opportunity, you should have equal employment. And I don't think that you should put a woman in a position they're not ready for just because they're a woman, but I think you should, make sure that the women have equal access to these opportunities. And if that means a project like this where we are excluding men because there has been a gap in those opportunities, then that is what it is. And I think it was really important that we did that.
I hope that when people come and see this film and watch the documentary and understand the process of where I stand, I hope they're able to, as a woman, feel a sense of pride in our capabilities and how strong we are when we do stand together. I think that's an important part of this. And for anyone who watches the film to see what can come out of a group of people, no matter who they are, wanting to come together and create something that's important. That don't be afraid to use your voice for whatever it is that you're passionate about. You can make an impact, and I think we have, and I hope that resonates with our community.